This is homework 46, solving systems by elimination. So elimination, we're trying to add the equations together to eliminate a variable. So I can see that I have opposites here, negative 3y and positive 3y, so when I add them together, they will cancel. So I'll get 3x equals 27 divided by 3, and x equals 9. Then I can take this value of x and substitute it into either equation. I'll pick the top equation, the bottom equation. X plus 3y equals 6, and we're going to substitute in a 9. We're plugging it into that equation. So we're substituting in a 9, so we'll subtract 9 from both sides. 3y equals negative 3 divided by 3, and y equals negative 1. So our point where the lines intersect is 9, negative 1. Question 2, we've got opposites with our y's. So we add those together, we get negative 13x equals, and 28 minus 15 is 13. So divide by negative 13, and we get x equals negative 1. So then we can substitute that into either equation. I'll pick the top equation now. So negative 3x plus 2y equals negative 15, and we're subbing in a negative 1. So that makes 4 plus 2y equals negative 15. Subtract 4 from both sides. 2y equals negative 8. Oops, that's negative 19. And negative 3 times negative 1 makes 3. Holy moly, I should have left that in there. So subtract 3, and we get 2y equals negative 18. Divide by 2, and y equals negative 9. So our point is negative 1, negative 9. Question 3. Now, I can look at this top equation, and if I were to multiply this top equation by negative 1, so if we distributed a negative 1 to every term, we'd get positive 4x, positive 2y, and negative 1 times 0 still makes 0. So now, when I add these together, I've created opposites. Those will cancel. So negative 5x plus 4x makes negative x. So negative x equals negative 5. Divide by negative 1, and x equals 5. So now we can plug this into either equation. I'll pick the top one. Negative 4 times x minus 2y equals 0. Plug it in a 5. Negative 4 times 5 makes negative 20. Minus 2y equals 0. Add 20 to both sides. Negative 2y equals 20. Divide by negative 2. And y equals negative 10. So my point is 5, negative 10. If we look at the x's, it looks like we already have opposites again, only this is a 2 positive, so we'll multiply this by negative 1, and I'll get negative 6x plus 6y equals 0. We're just distributing that negative 1. So now when I add them together, the x's cancel. Negative 10y plus 6y makes negative 4y, and 24 and 0 make 24. Divide by negative 4, and y equals negative 6. So we can plug it into either equation. I'll pick the top one. 6x minus 6 times y equals 0, and we're substituting in a negative 6 for y. So 6x, and then negative 6 and negative 6 multiply together to make positive 36 equals 0. Subtract 36 from both sides, trying to solve for x. 6x equals negative 36. Divide by 6, and x equals negative 6. So our point is negative 6, negative 6. 5. Well, 5, let's multiply, let's try and make, I see that 4 will go into 12, right? So let's make negative 12. So what would I have to multiply this equation by? I'd have to multiply it by negative 3, right? And I'm going to write my answer over here. So negative 3 times negative 7x makes 21x. Negative 3 times 4y makes negative 12y. And negative 3 times 25 makes negative 75. We're going to add it to this equation here, so I'll just rewrite it on top of itself. So negative 6x plus 12y equals 30. And now we're going to add these together. We see that our y's are opposites. Those will cancel. 21 minus 6 makes 15, so that's 15x equals, and negative 75 plus 30 would make negative 45. Divide by 15, and we get x equals, well, 30, 45, that would be negative 3. We can substitute this into any equation, so I'm just going to pick the top one. So negative 6x plus 12y equals 30. We're substituting in our negative 3. So that makes 18 plus 12y equals 30. Subtract 18 from both sides. We get 12y equals, what's that make? 12. Divide by 12. And y equals 1. So our point of intersection is negative 3, 1. 6, we could either do the x or the y. I'm going to choose the y because I'm going to multiply by less numbers, or by a smaller number. So what could I multiply 2y by to make negative 10y? Well, negative 5. So we'll write this over here. So we'll get negative 45x minus 10y equals, and 5 times 20 makes 100, so 5 times 23 would be 115. Two negatives make a positive. I'll rewrite this top equation over here, so we get x plus 10y equals 17. So this makes negative 44x equals, and 115 and 17 make 132. So divide this by negative 44, and we get x equals, what's that make? 3. Negative 3. So x equals negative 3. We can plug that into either equation, so I'll pick the top one. Oops. So x plus 10y equals 17, and we're subbing in our negative 3. We'll add 3 to both sides. 10y equals 20. Divide by 10, and y equals 2. So our point is negative 3, 2. Seven. Let's simplify the x's. If I multiply this top equation by 2, I'll get positive 12x plus 4y equals negative 12. So when we add these together, our x's cancel. Negative 5 and 4y make negative y, and 12 minus 12 makes 0. So if negative y equals 0, then y equals 0. And that's okay. So now let's plug it in. Let's use the top equation. 6x plus 2 times y equals negative 6. Substituting in our 0 for y. So 6x equals negative 6, because 2 times 0 makes 0. Divide by 6, and x equals negative 1. So our intersection is negative 1, 0. 8. Let's simplify. If we can make the opposite of, we can make 16x by multiplying negative 8x by negative 2, right? So negative 2 times negative 8x makes positive 16x. I don't need that plus sign in there, but I just wanted to show it to you. Negative 2 and negative 5y make positive 10y, and negative 2 and negative 7 make 14. When I add them together, my x's cancel. 10y minus 6y makes 4y, and 14 minus 2 makes 12. Divide by 4, y equals 3. Take this next equation, negative 8x minus 5y equals negative 7. Substituting in a positive 3. Negative 8x minus 15 equals negative 7. Add 15 to both sides, and we get negative 8x equals 8. Divide by negative 8, and x equals negative 1. So our solution is negative 1, 3. The word problems: you are buying the meat for a cookout. You need to buy 8 packages of meat. A package of hot dogs costs $1.60, and a package of hamburgers costs $5. You spend a total of $23. How many packages of hamburgers and hot dogs did you buy? So we're buying 8 packages of meat, right? So if we have 8 packages, that means our equation, we're going to equal 8, right? And we've got hot dogs and we've got hamburgers. So let's call hot dogs, we'll call them D. So dogs plus H for hamburgers. And then the other equation is going to be hot dogs, which were $1.60. So that's a 1.6 times D. I could put in the 0, 1.60, and this is a D. Okay, I don't need the 0, but it's $1.60, so we'll put it in there. And hamburgers are $5, so 5H. And how much did we spend? We spent $23. So those are our 2 equations. So what could we do if we multiplied our top equation by negative 1.6, we'd get something here, right? So if I multiplied this top equation, do it in a different color. Let's go orange. So if we multiplied by negative 1.6, we'd get negative 1.6D minus 1.6H equals, and 8 times 1.6 is negative 12.8. So when we add these together, the D's will cancel. 5 minus 1.6 makes 3.4H equals, and 23 minus 12.8, that makes what? 10.2? 10.2. So now I'll rewrite this over here. 3.4H equals 10.2. Divide both sides by 3.4. And 10.2 divided by 3.4 is 2.H equals 2.94. So I messed up somewhere. Where did I mess up? 23 minus 12.8. 23 minus 12.8 is 10.2. We did that right. So let's call this 3 and see what happens. If we have 3 3 hamburgers, then how many dogs would we have? We'd have 5 dogs, right? Because 3 plus 5 makes 8, so 5 dogs. And let's multiply. If we had 5 dogs and a dog is $1.60, what's 5 times $1.60? So 5 times 1.6 equals 8. And 3 hamburgers right? And hamburgers are $5, and that makes 15, and 15 and 8 makes 23. So we're okay. the numbers didn't come out quite as evenly as we wanted to. But so this was, we had 3 hamburgers and 5 hot dogs. The caterer is planning a party for 64 people. The customer has $150 to spend. A $39 pan of pasta feeds 14 people, and a $12 sandwich tray feeds 6 people. How many pans of pasta and how many trays of sandwiches should the caterer make? So 64 people. The customer has $150 to spend. So 39, so we've got a pan of pasta and sandwich, right? So we could have an equation of, let's say, S for sandwiches and P for pasta. So S plus P equals, we're trying to feed 14 people, right? So S plus P equals 14. So our equation is actually 39P plus, because a pan of pasta is $39, so 39P plus a sandwich tray is $12, so plus 12S, and we've got $150 to spend. And that pan of pasta is going to feed 14 people, so 14P plus, and the sandwich is going to feed 6 people, so 6S, and we've got 64 people to feed, so equals 64. So now what could we do? We could multiply this bottom equation by -2. So we get -28P minus 12S equals -128. And I'll rewrite the top equation. 39P plus 12S equals 150. And 39 minus 28 makes 11P equals, our S's cancel. And 150 minus 28 is 22, so divide by 11, and P is 2, so that means we did 2 pans of pasta, and if we did 2 pans of pasta, we can substitute that into either equation. Let's do this bottom equation here. So 14 times 2 plus 6 times S equals 64, so that's 28 plus 6S equals 64. I'm going to take this and send it over here. So 28 plus 6S equals 64. Subtract 28, subtract 28. 6S equals, and that would be what, 36. So divide by 6, and S equals 6. So that's 2 pans, P equals 2, and S equals 6. 2 pans of pasta and 6 sandwiches. Let's check and make sure. 6 sandwiches would feed 36 people, and 2 pans of pasta would feed 28 people, so 28 and 36. Does that make 64? 28 and 36 makes 64. So we did it right.